Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the Lunar FPS channel where I specialize in hero shooters, but more broadly, the FPS genre in general. I will also be streaming, hopefully, my journey to #1 on the leaderboards in FragPunk. And today, I just wanted to do a little tier list video from the CBT characters. Obviously, we don't know the 13th new character, Chum. I know his abilities, but I can't really judge them because I never played with him in the environment. But I am going to tier list all these 12 CBT characters that are going to be live on the game's release tomorrow, just to kind of put the opinion out there, see what other people think the power level these characters are in the meta, and yeah. So to preface, I don't think any of these characters are unviable. I think you can play any one of them and rank up to the highest rank if you wanted to. In the end, it's not all about agent abilities. There's the shard cards. There's your weapon choice. You know how you play around all of that, and the agents and their abilities are only a small component, and none of them are so bad that they don't bring any value, right? Anyway, gonna start off with Broker here. I think he's your solid poster boy character. He's kind of the just someone you can like who's introduced to you at the start of the game. You can lock in. Their abilities are very straightforward and simple. You have the rocket launcher, big damage. Use it well, position yourself well with it. You can get damage or kills fairly simply and easily. Cherry bombs, very good for area denial. Enemies have to shoot them. They have to make noise to get past them. So it's very great for information. And then lastly, the smoke, which means you don't have to carry a smoke pistol. You can carry a flash and flash out of your smoke. You can carry a grenade for even more area clearing. But overall, there's not too many flaws in this guy's kit. He's very well rounded, and there's nothing he's great at that other characters aren't. But he's definitely a solid choice and a really fun pick in general. And learning your rocket launcher and sort of mastering some of his abilities can make you a pretty powerful player. Next here we got Axon. Definitely a powerhouse. Now here, actually, before I proceed, we are going to switch these tiers up. And it's not going to change much of anything except two characters that I want to put in this very high tier that we'll see later. A, B, C. And this will be broken. Okay, Axon. I think when we talk about Axon, we also have to talk about Corona at the same time, because in my eyes, they are essentially the same character in that Axon has his ability where he can put on his mask and he becomes immune to all visual impairments, basically meaning that you can flash with the flash pistol on your own and go in and just tank it and shoot people. Corona is the same thing, where he can just he attaches the flash to himself. He doesn't blind his teammates, which I guess is the only real difference between them. But he attaches the flash to himself and then dashes in to try and flash people as he enters onto the site. But I think Axon is just categorically more lethal and less easy to avoid in theory, of course. In application, Corona is actually quite annoying to deal with in ranked because there's going to be other things occupying your attention. But you're effectively able to do the same thing on Axon. He has way better area denial. He can throw grenades for hours, and they actually kill things, unlike Corona's Molly, which just does a little bit of damage at most. And he has the versatility of the fact that he has a shotgun in his loadout at all times. So you're gonna want to run a long range weapon like a DMR or a sniper or one of the longer range rifles, because you always have that shotgun in your back pocket, and it is a nasty shotgun. It does a shit ton of damage. But yeah, I think this character is just completely better than Corona. He has the slide as well too. Like he has the movement option, and I don't know. He's just a very good character that completely overshadows Corona in my opinion, being that he can do effectively the same thing, other than I guess you'd flash your teammates if you didn't put your throw your flash correctly on accident. But yeah, he's a little more lethal in my eyes. Then we'll talk about Corona a little more fully. A very linear character, and you're going to notice a pattern with the agents or lancers that I put in lower tiers is that they're very linear, with not a very high skill ceiling. You have the dash on Corona, you have the flash that he attaches to himself, and you have the molly. Now, the extent of what you can do with this character is you activate your flash, you dash in, and then you throw your molly to clear some angles or give yourself a little, I think it's a movement boost or it might be a fire rate boost as well. I don't exactly remember, but it also damages opponents, and that's all he can do. There's no other cool techs or like he's very, you know exactly what this character is going to do and when he's going to do it because well, I mean, if you don't use your abilities, why are you might as well just play CS:GO. Um, I think people as the game goes on will become very familiar with this guy's kit and understand that if you know Corona is around the corner, then you might just want to back away because I mean like you could potentially fight and kill a Corona if he mistimes his flash dash. You could kill him before the flash goes off, but it's gonna be pretty hard to kill him as if he comes out with his team. Like obviously kill him and then kill the people behind him. So yes, he's good in taking space, and even that threat of taking space can cause people to back off if they're smart enough. But I think the retake potential for the opposite team is just too big. Like if I know a Corona is entering onto my site, I'm just gonna back away and play retake because why would I fight when I know exactly what he's gonna do? He's just gonna flash and dash on site and then throw a couple mollies and like I'll just leave and retake with the team. Basically, my criticism of this character is you know what he's gonna do as he's doing it, and he's not a powerful enough character to justify that. Like if some of his abilities were overpowered, even if you knew what he was doing, that you couldn't really do anything against that, then yeah, I could see that being a game breaking issue, which is why I'm glad he's kind of built the way he is currently. But yeah, I think he's just too linear and there's too much counterplay. He's just not as strong as a character like Axon who has access to the same thing but with more abilities that are useful. Now, as for Spider, I think he's going to present an issue in the comp space. And in fact, I think I'm going to put him ahead of Axon right here. Um, with Spider, he obviously has the teleports. He can shift around. He can jiggle in between his TPs, which make him a lot harder to track and kill effectively. He can trap people with other TPs and bring them to where he is. His trap is one of the better ones in the game. He's going to present an issue on release because people won't know how to play against him. And as they learn his kit, the players who play Spider will be getting better with this kit. And this is one of those characters that has a high skill ceiling, I think, in ways that you can place his TP and place the TP trap as well. The trap can, depending on how you place it, your team can get a lot of value off of it. But there's just a bunch of different ways in which you can use his abilities, and I think the community will get more creative as the game comes out and people start understanding the game, the cards, and the synergies with other agents. I think this character will be a very, very tricky one to deal with. As for Sonar, also going in S, I am a little biased. Maybe you could put her down in A. I could see arguments for that, but being one of the only two pure information characters we have in the game, the other one being Jaguar, she presents, I mean, everything except the dead silence in her kit is info. The echolocation provides great stall because you don't want to walk into that. You're giving free info away. But it also can be a good initiation tool on sites, depending on where you place it. The main synergy I can see here with the other agents is with Zephyr. If you pop the dead silence and Zephyr goes, because the dead silence works amongst anybody who's in your range, any ally who's in your range. If Sonar pops the dead silence, then Zephyr goes invisible you drop the only disadvantage that Zephyr has when she's invisible, and that's the fact that she makes noise when she's completely invisible. Because Zephyr got recently got a rework that's going to be dropping on the 6th when the game drops, in which she doesn't have that passive phase anymore. So she'll be completely invisible and be completely silent if you are using this synergy, as well as the fact that Sonar can get information for Zephyr, and then so they can get information, then set up the dead silence, and then Zephyr gets a free kill with the knife in the back, which I think could be very deadly. Another big pro of Sonar is that not only are her abilities very good for the team and synergy with the team, even like regardless of the team aspect, you can use all her abilities for herself in like a solo queue setting with the echolocation totem, very good for information and stall. The dead silence, very good if your team is just rushing it down a site every round. Yeah, at least maybe put some ambiguity in that, or even if your team is rushing, you could pop dead silence and try and get a flank in or something like that. There's also the wave blast that concusses enemies, reveals them, and does a little bit of damage, I think, which will be nice to initiate for your team. And once again, initiate for yourself and try and take duels, favorable duels. And overall, I think she's just a tiny bit stronger than Jaguar, but also a necessary component because information is so important in games where it's required, as in like a game like chess. Obviously, all the information's on the board. It just comes down to memorizing games and positions and whatnot. But in games like Valorant and CS and now FragPunk, where you don't know everybody's position or what's going on or what everybody has available, what guns they're using, the informational aspect is super important and probably the key element of these games. So that makes as for now, being that there's only two pure information characters, I think so that makes Sonar up in the S tier here. Nitro, also very good. We'll put her. We'll just put her here for now. I'll come back at the end and reorganize everything as I see fit. This is one of those characters that's very easy to pick up and has a very high skill ceiling. I think Nitro is sort of like a pump fake character in which she looks very easy on the surface, but she's actually can be pretty insane in terms of, so if we start with her drone, I think I'd like to say a little bit too much HP. I don't know. We'll see once the full game comes out and like how it seems to play out in game. But the fact that it can shoot back, it does only do a little bit of damage, but it can shoot back and it can be traded very easily because it has a lot of HP. I think makes it one hell of an ability, considering this is supposed to be a defensive character, and she's not a pure information character like Sonar or Jaguar. The drone is one of probably the second most broken ability. Then you come to her little turrets that you can set up on walls. Obviously, very good for defense. When enemies come through a choke, they'll look up and shoot at them. You can swing off that distraction and get your kills. But where the skill comes from, the skill ceiling being so high for this character, is the walls and the ability to boost yourself into positions, especially in combination with some shard cards, boost yourself in positions that otherwise wouldn't exist without Nitro being on the team. So as more people play the game and as the weeks go by, people will figure out places you can boost yourself for sniper angles or just off angles in general. You'll probably see some clips of Nitro absolutely beaming down enemy teams from spots that they didn't even know they could get shot at from. And yeah, just the use of the walls is going to be massive on this character. Next, Hollow Point's one of the weaker characters in the game, second weakest in my opinion. In terms of sniping in this game, just in general, regardless of Hollow Point's Meteora ability, that being her railgun sniper, there are so many ways to push a sniper off an angle or block a sniper off. First of all, each Lancer or even player on a team is able to carry one of 3 pistols that offer an extra piece of utility. So you could either carry the flash, you could flash the corner that the sniper is staring you down on. You can smoke off the sniper, or you can throw a grenade at the sniper's location and push them off the angle. So that's 3 abilities that every single Lancer has access to. On top of that, we have the informational abilities coming from drones like Nitros or Sonar's Recon or Jaguar's Recon, or even someone as weak as Cirquette with her little drone teleport ability and Kismet's Insta Recon ability. There's a lot of ways to push a sniper off an angle. On top of the fact that the sniper actually doesn't one shot. I don't know if they've changed this, but in the beta, it didn't one shot past 20 meters, so you couldn't actually take up a long range fight with it unless you were confident in hitting the head. All this to say that snipers, I don't think will be very strong unless you play it right, which is I think good. But Hollow Point, specifically with Hollow Point, the Meteora, you have to hard scope. So one of the major advantages of holding a regular sniper is you can actually jump around and just quick scope people, and that makes it actually a viable weapon in my opinion. But the fact that you have to hard scope, if you are recon, you basically are fucked. Like you can't. It's going to be very hard to get kills on hollow point in that way. And if people know your hollow point, they know you're going to swing the corner very slowly. They'll just hold close. You get one tapped. So I don't see that ability being very useful if people use their brains, which in competitive play they don't, which is why I say every character is viable. Hollow Point will be viable. She'll be getting a bunch of snipes probably in comp. I just don't think you'll see her in any tournament play that might exist or anything like that. And I don't think you'll see many people playing her at the top of competitive at all. That being said, I think her most useful ability will be the wall. It's a push wall similar to harbors from Valorant. People that walk through it are reconned. So you can use it to either like clear a room, or you could also use it to push forward and take space with it, or both even. It's very nice for pushing forward, taking space. It's also a perfect sort of shape to flash through, and enemies very won't have much time to turn away from it. And anything else with the push wall? No, but it is probably our best ability. Last one being the generic trip that just tags people, and they're revealed until they pull the tag out. Really nothing special. Not a very strong character. There's a bunch of better options for more team oriented play and just more selfishly oriented play in general. Just better characters. But what up, everybody? Post editing Lunar here. I just came back to make a last minute addendum to my tier list here and come back and argue that Hollow Point is actually higher than I initially put her. After reflecting on my previous words, the power of hollow points comes from the fact that the enemy doesn't know what you're peeking or holding with. So you can swing a corner with a shotgun and then fall off and hold with the sniper, which is going to one shot. So you peek a corner with a shotgun, you realize the enemy's too far away, you back up, switch, wait for them to swing. Now you hit the one shot. It's a lot of the reason why Axon is powerful is because he can carry the long range and the short range. This makes the sniper infinitely more viable than I initially thought it to be. This is just something that I forgot from the beta, or it's just a reason that I played her that I forgot about was because people would you could fight and people would push you at angles and ranges that they didn't realize they could get killed from because you had the sniper at your disposal, and it was a very powerful weapon. So I think I underrated that ability of her kit a little bit too hard, and I just wanted to come in here and fix that and say she's probably a little bit higher than I initially put her. Anyway, moving on, we have Jaguar, the other recon character, being that the second recon character, only one of two in the game, and information be so important. He's also S tier. He has the ability where you detect people in front of you, and then with that you mark them using the passive, I believe. It's automatic, and then you can throw like a cage around them and spam them through the cage because they get reconned through it. Uh, but yeah, he's a lot of powerful recon and figuring out where people are located and who you can push. So if you like detect only one enemy in front of you and you have three teammates with you, then you're safe to, like, I don't know, ask a teammate to flash the corner or sort of initiate with whatever other ability and take that 3v1, which is pretty advantageous for you. He has the one of the better traps in the game, like second or third best trap, does quite a lot of damage. It's very nice for holding chokes. The reason I put him under Sonar being that he has the hold chokes and he has the info. Sonar has the dead silence. I just think she opens up a lot more like combo potential with the team, while also maintaining that selfish play that you can do. I think that she's just going to be a little more consistent and versatile as opposed to Jaguar. Although Jaguar's not a bad pick, very good pick. I think that's all I have to say about him. Serket, worst character in the game, bar none. She first ability is like the little molly on the floor that sucks the sand trap. I guess I should say that sucks people into the middle of it. That is almost useless. It dictates the position of your opponent, sure, but also your opponent's can easily shoot back, and if not kill you, they can damage you in turn for their death. They're almost guaranteed to. Where in a case like if you just had a flash pistol and then you flash the corner, I feel like you are at a lot less risk taking that fight of taking damage or dying than with the sand trap. So the only use for the sand trap is to slow, but Serket's supposed to be sort of an initiating, not like a control. I guess, yeah, a controlling duelist type character. I guess makes sense, but I just think that there's so many other abilities. I think every other ability in the game is more useful than that sand trap ability. Uh, Also, the push wall, but in the form of like a sand tornado. Also, every other ability is more useful in that game. I'd rather have Hollow Point's recon push wall because at least it does something. I think the sand tornado might slow people that walk inside of it. That I'm not exactly sure of. I don't remember that from the beta, but I feel like it's something that probably would be true. But yeah, those two abilities I find to be redundant and completely useless. Third ability, one of the better abilities in the game, but her other two abilities drag her down a lot. Is the teleport slash recon drone, what I believe will turn into mostly a drone at higher levels of play because people will just shoot it and won't allow Serket to TP. But yeah, basically you transform into a little, what is it, like a sandball, and then you can teleport to its location. But you can also see people in the form of like little sandstorms when you go past them. They can shoot the sandball, and then you can't teleport, and your drone ends. So very good for repositioning in tricky spots behind enemy lines. Very good for reconnaissance. The rest of her kit brings her down, I believe. I think the rest of it is just pretty useless. Now, you've noticed no one's in the broken tier so far. First character, one of two. I think Pathogen is a little overtuned. She has the only trap in the game that's completely silent, so you have to keep your eyes out. And considering that you can change your Lancer in between every round, you won't know if they have a pathogen or not, so you always have to be aware of a trap that you can't hear. She also has the walls, which can, if placed on like a door of a choke, will block the entire choke, meaning you have to give away information by breaking the wall. And it's not like you can't break the wall because then they know that you're not there for sure, so you have to break the wall. And once you do, you've given away info that someone is there. Just information in general, like if you've seen that your teammate has pushed up on the B site and your pathogen wall was just broken, well, then they're either mid or on the A site, and chances are they're likely on the A site. So just the amount of information it gives you is stupid. And also the fact that you can place it and sort of like play around it, like with a shotgun, kind of like I would expect like a Gibby shield to be played. You just like weave in and out of its protection, sort of type thing. That's less useful in my opinion. The complete blocking of passages is pretty crazy. She also has a self heal for the entire team, actually. So I mean, it being a team-wide heal is pretty crazy. How often it's going to be useful in competitive, like solo queue, probably enough to be significant, but I'd expect to see her more in like tournament games, where she just completely blocks off chokes, can heal teammates really nicely, and has a trip that just does a lot of damage, is completely silent. Yeah, that's it's just overall a combination of abilities that I think is overtuned too much. Second broken character, Zephyr. With the, I guess, one day before the release of the game, I watched Shroud Summit and Tens play a little bit of an one day early access version where Zephyr in the maps, and I think some guns had some changes, but Zephyr was completely rid of the passive phase, which was what made her bad, but now she's broken. So my early critique of Zephyr was that she's not a character that fits in a game like this. Either she's too broken or she's one of the worst characters. Like with the passive phase, I'd say like down here, just after Corona. But now that she's no passive phase, you can do things like run the dead silence with her invis, and then what's really the counterplay that you have to back up because you don't know where she's going to be coming from. The passive phase was the only thing that saved your ass, and now she has 3 times of invisibility, 3 uses of the ability. They are a little shorter, I believe. She still has the place down field of invisibility where your invisibility meter doesn't go down. And then obviously the totem teleport, you can just place it down and then teleport back to it anytime you want, which is powerful enough. That really, I think it's just the invisibility, just having no intermittent visibility like it did before, it makes it really hard to fight against. I think you're going to see people complaining a lot about it, especially in the earlier ranks. And considering this game is already very hard to understand and grasp at the like even at an average level of like understanding everything and not understanding all the advanced mechanics, but just the shard cards and the agents, or sorry, the lancers and the different guns, I think it's going to turn a couple people away. The fact that even these two, no, mostly Zephyr because she feels like an unfair character, but it's going to turn people away at the early when they don't understand how they're dying. It's going to make people not want to play the game when they first boot it up and they're 2 hours in and they face a couple Zephyrs. They're going to be like, wow, this is bullshit. I'm not going to play. I don't think that's very good, healthy for the game. Not to mention that even in higher play, I assume she's still going to be broken. It's going to be like Jet was pre all the nerfs, where you basically the whole goal of the game was going to be to set up your Zephyr for kills. And I don't want that to be the case because I think this game is fun and dynamic, and I'd hate to see it go down the route Valorant kind of did. But I don't know what they're going to do with this character. I don't have any suggestions for making her not bad or not overpowered. It's up to the dev team, man. I have no fucking clue. But lastly, Kismet. Solid character. Best ability, probably the instant scan. The fact that she has the instant scan that gets like right beside her can clear close corners and like a bunch of areas on site that are congested. She has the grenade, which is pretty okay, and her TP, which is pretty okay, or her like interdimensional travel. It's not really a TP per se. I think it's going to be pretty hype at the start when people don't know what the fuck's happening, but the interdimensional travel is basically just going to be reposition out of. Once we get to the higher levels, it's going to be just a reposition out of dangerous situations. So, like, say you planted the bomb as Kismet for whatever reason, and the enemy team is collapsing on you. You're just going to use it to get out and back into a safe position instead of initiating with it, which is, I think it's just going to be a reposition. And I'm fairly certain you make a noise when you come out of it, so people are going to know where you are. So I don't think it's going to be that powerful of an ability. I think the instant scan is very powerful, and the grenade, pretty powerful considering it goes through walls too. Not as powerful as the instant scan, but still, it's not a negligible ability. Overall, just a little less than Broker. I think Broker's a little more solid in, I think every aspect of his kit kind of has a place. Kismet feels a little weak in some areas, but still better than, I'd say, Corona, Hollow Point, and Circuit. Not on that, quite on that level. But yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up for this tier list. If I go and back and take a look, I think Nitro goes a little higher than that. Axon, yeah, I still think he's up there. I really think Spider will have a high skill ceiling here. I really do. And I think these guys are just because they are recon characters are just going to stay there on release. Once we get more recon characters and it sort of like diversifies a little bit, I think we'll see they might drop down. I don't know. We'll see as the game progresses. But that is the end of my tier list. Let me know down in the comments if you agree, if you think I overrated anyone or underrated anyone. Just your general opinions of a tier list would be cool to see what the community thinks on release about all the Lancers in the game. And you can go on and head over to my Twitch where I will be attempting to become, at least at some point, the number one FragPunk player in the game. I'd love to see you over there, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. Just to clarify, this is my final rendition of the tier list. Don't go spamming me in the comments saying Hollow Point is better than she is, than she was previously rated. I've switched that around. Any other comments are warranted. I'm down for any sort of discussion, and this is the final iteration of my personal tier list for the FragPunk Lancers on release.